I'm good. Yeah.
Our next guest is Jim fucking Florentine. Thank you for coming by.
Yeah. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it. What's going on? It's been a
Oh,
while.
I'm begging you all the time. So you just flew back from England. It looked phenomenal. You went to Black Sabbath's last show. I need to hear some details. Tell me all about it.
It was the heavy metal live aid. It was the best show I've ever been to, and I've been to a ton of concerts. Just a vibe there. Everybody was in a great mood. Everybody's there celebrating. There was always, in the back of your mind, is Ozzy going to make it? Or all the guys going to be healthy to play the show and all that? And then, when Ozzy comes out and does a solo thing first, that it's happening, and everybody's crying in the audience and stuff. And then Sabbath came on after that. It was just an amazing day, and it was quick. Like there was only like 10-minute turnarounds between each band, so you weren't just hanging out waiting and waiting because they had a rotating stage, so they would set up the stage behind them as the band was playing. So everything went really quick too. Yeah, it was great.
Who was your favorite opening act?
Metallica, of course, they were great. And I love that they did Johnny Blade and Hole in the Sky. Guns N' Roses, I love their song selection. They did some really deep cuts. Everyone was complaining about Axl's voice, but that Ozzy stuff from the 70s is tough to hit those high notes too.
We're all getting older too. It's not as easy to do things that we used to do when we were young.
I know, that's what I say. We're getting old too, so we can't do the same things that we could do anymore. So no one ever cuts them a break. But Tool was great. Slayer was great. Hailstorm, Lizzie Hale is just phenomenal. I mean, the voice on her. It's funny that Nuno Bettencourt was up there during the supergroups, and he played most of the time guitar. And all those old metalheads, like, I didn't know that guy was good. He's from Extreme, because they would never listen to Extreme because they had the More Than Words. They were poppy, like considered like a hair metal band. And I go, yeah, he's the modern day Eddie Van Halen. But none of those guys even knew how good he was. We've known that of being in the rock world, that he's great. And they were like, I go, yeah, this guy's been amazing since day one. But you guys just, judged him on that one song.
So that surprised you. Who were you the most surprised to see, like, backstage at the show, just viewing it?
Well, there's a couple comedians that I knew. Joe Coy was there. He was there with his son. I guess his son's a big Ozzy fan. And this guy, Pete Lee, this comic from the States that I'm friends with too. But I'm trying to think I know Brian May was there, but I didn't see him.
Okay.
All the Osbournes were there. I don't know anyone else that didn't perform that was backstage.
I saw David, that was formerly with Megadeth, and I love Rudy Sarzo.
They were part of the band. Yeah, no, Rudy, absolutely. I interviewed Rudy. David Ellefson I interviewed too. That was great. No, it was great that Rudy was there and Jakey Lee were there.
Was Don Jamieson there?
Yeah. Oh no, Don wasn't. No.
Yeah. Why not?
I don't know. I told him, look, come on, let's go, and he's like, yeah, and then he just, I don't know, he didn't go for some reason. Me and Jim Norton went.
I know you and Jim were tight. I told Don, why is he looking like a hot older chick that grows a garden and drives a Subaru lately? Like, he switched it up, his look.
And what did he say?
Oh, he laughed. Like, he's got this hot older lesbian vibe to him, where I just, he had darker hair back in the day, and I'm like, okay, go for it. But I was shocked he wasn't there. But I saw you and Jim, and you went to the original album cover shot. How did you guys just get there on your own, or was that part of like a bigger show, or how did that come about?
No, it was just, my brothers were over in London last year, and they found the place. The original Black Sabbath, that picture was taken in late 1969. They found the barn and the original Black Sabbath cover. And when I was going over this time, my brother was like, you got to go. Here's the address. So me and Jim had a day off in London. We did some stand-up gigs, and we decided to take an Uber. It was like 2 hours outside of London.
You got a 2-hour Uber?
Yeah. We're like,
how much was that?
I don't remember. It was probably like, $450 round trip, $450 round trip.
You better have a good hooker or a Black Sabbath album cover to get that many pounds for an Uber. No, thank you.
Look, for me and Jim, that's how we bonded when we first started doing stand-up, is our love of Black Sabbath. So we're like, whatever, you know what I mean? This, it's an expense, but it's a once in a lifetime thing. We didn't know if we were going to find it. Anyway, it's the way out in the middle of nowhere, down this little dirt road. And we got to it. It's like in a cul-de-sac. And my brothers the year before took a picture. They were outside the fence. So it was a good picture, but it wasn't a great one because, the whole thing is gated. So you can't get in there. And there's a farm right next to the barn, and it has a gate. And out of nowhere, when we're on this desolate street, a car pulls up and it's going into the farm, and the gate opened. And the farm was right next to the barn, and there was no gate to get to the barn. So while it was open, I go, Jim, we got to go in. Come on, let's just follow that car, and the gate's open so we can go to the barn. We didn't
snuck in?
Yeah, we snuck in. We weren't sure, how to get out. We weren't worried about that. So we snuck in, and that's why we went around it, took pictures right in front of it, looked inside and all that stuff. And then, we figured whatever. And then when we were ready to leave, the gate was shut, and we hit some button and it still wouldn't open. Like, oh shit, we're gonna have to climb this friggin' tall gate to get out of here, but it's still worth it. But I think somebody in the farm, saw us two idiots out there on the monitor and goes, just let these idiots out. So they opened the gate.
They don't
for
know
us,
you
so
guys are famous and you're just over private property. You could have got shot if it was America. You're lucky you was
Well, yeah, that, and also I think that the farm people next door are used to like Black Sabbath fans showing up.
Yeah.
Because I guess you could take a tour of the place. If you call, you could do it legitimately. I didn't know that. So because some fan told me he took a tour like 2 days later after he saw our stuff. But, I guess they see these guys there all the time popping up. And okay.
So they're used to it.
I think so. But we got the footage. It was great. And it looks pretty much the same.
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
So I saw you guys were really busy. You and Jim Norton were interviewing a lot of people. Who was your favorite guest that you guys had by?
Well, Jakey Lee was great to hear Jake, talk to him. And then also Rudy Sarzo. Those two guys were, we interviewed David Draymond. We interviewed Tool, which they never do interviews.
No, I've never had him by. Yeah.
Yeah, they were. That was good. And, we did Frankie Bello from Anthrax, Billy Corgan from Smashing Pumpkins, Sammy Hagar. But, just Jake, because Jake just was really happy to be there. Jake was the star backstage. Everybody was wanting a picture with Jake. Everybody came up to Jake. People were bowing to Jake because he's been off the radar for so long.
Yeah.
He popped up a little while back with his solo band for a little bit, but then went back on. And then, he got shot a few months back, and just that he was there and just telling he's like, hey, I'm happy to be here. This is amazing. He had some arthritis in his wrist, so that's why he couldn't play Bark of the Moon, because they wondered why. Nuno Betancourt did Bark of the Moon. He said, I just can't so that's why he did Ultimate Sin and Shot in the Dark.
From jacking off too much.
Maybe.
So, did you get to meet Aquaman, the host, or hang out at all?
I'm not into that guy.
No, not BFFs.
No, he seems like he just needs so much attention.
Yeah.
Like he's walking around with a helmet on. He's jumping in the crowd and stuff. I don't know. I didn't even see that movie. So to me, it was
He's so hot. He's too hot for me. I like ugly guys. Like that's my thing. Not guys that are really attractive. Yeah.
Why don't you like good looking guys?
I don't know. It's just my thing. Like people have teased me for years. I usually go for like the uglier or like overweight, like insecure in the crowd.
But you're not attracted. If they're ugly, you're obviously not attracted to them, and you're okay with that.
Okay, but you know how you find something attractive and it's not universally attractive, but so I'm mentally stimulated. Like I need someone very smart and quick wit and can talk about world events. So usually physically, maybe they're not everyone's type, but mentally they can hold a conversation.
Wow, a guy thinks the complete opposite.
Yes.
I don't want to know a woman's view. I don't want to know a woman's views on world events. I don't need her that smart because then she could figure me out. So I'm the complete opposite. I'm a shallow man.
No, men are visual creatures, And I was when I was younger. When I was a lot younger, I was like, oh, hot girl, hot guy, whatever it was, I was going to turn. But now that I'm older, I'm like, damn it. If I wake up in the morning and I'm having coffee, I need to hold a conversation, or I need them gone the night before. So it really depends.
All right, fair enough.
Okay, so tell us, I know you're a busy bee. Tell us everything that's going on with you right
now.
No,
we could talk more about it. I got some time.
Oh, well,
whatever you want to know from
it. Basically, I did want to ask you something totally random if you know about it, because you shocked me last time you came by my radio station knowing so much about Murder Docs and JonBenet Ramsey. If you follow the Amy Bradley case at all, and if you do, what your thoughts were.
Wait, Amy Bradley, is that the woman in Florida?
The cruise ship, and she was missing off the cruise ship, and they don't know if she's still in Aruba or where she's at, or if she fell off the ship. Did you ever see any of that?
No, that's a documentary now on Netflix.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
no, I was going to watch that last night. I don't know anything about that, so I'm going to look at that. But what I'm really fascinated
Gotta
with
watch it.
is that Karen Reed case.
What's that?
That's the woman that supposedly ran over the cop, backed up into him in the snow, and killed her boyfriend in front of a house.
Okay.
There was 2 trials. It was from Boston, around the Boston area, and
I'm gonna have to check that
she
out.
wound up getting acquitted. They think it was a setup, like the cops might have done it, and instead of her, and blamed it on her. That's what really interests me.
Wow. I've dated cops, and I get how dirty some of them are. Not all of them, but they can really be sneaky. And the one I dated brought home the best drugs. So you never know.
Nice. You
Yeah.
think he was getting them from people he was busting?
It was a female, and she was. Yes.
What do you mean a she-male?
A female. So I date everything. You know what I mean? If it has
Right.
rules, I'm open-minded.
Okay,
Yeah.
so now does the woman have to be? The woman can be ugly too. She just has to stimulate your mind. Or is it different since you're with chicks too?
I'll be honest. Well, the age gap, people didn't think she was that attractive. She was 36 and I was 19, and she was a cop, and she'd arrest people, get drugs, and bring them back to our apartment. And that's how I started doing harder drugs, was with a
Okay,
cop before Slipknot, you know? So you got to start somewhere.
right.
Yeah.
So okay, all right.
So,
Well,
okay, I do have another question. What's your secret? Because I've only flown to London twice, and I don't like being trapped in a tight space on an airplane that long. And so I usually have to take something. Do you have a secret, or do you take anything, or how do you survive those overseas flights?
I don't even think about it. The flight was only a little over 7 hours. So from when I go to LA from New Jersey, it's 6. So it was only like an hour longer. When I came back, I was over in Germany. It took 10 hours to get back, but I could sleep on a plane, or I got videos lined up. I'll watch movies. I got stuff on my phone, or I'll download a bunch of documentaries and stuff. So I kill the time. I don't mind it. It doesn't bother me.
Have you ever been asleep on a plane and woke up to being like molested or touched by someone next to you?
I wish. No, never. I never sit next to a hot girl. Maybe like 2 times out of like 5,000.
Or a guy. I'm not saying.
Yeah, no.
No, it hasn't happened. Okay.
No, it hasn't. No, it has. No, I never. I
Okay.
try not to talk to anybody in the plane. I don't want to know. I just, enough of the small talk. I sit
I'm
by
the
the
most
window.
annoying person. I'm gonna be honest, and we've talked about this on several different shows because everyone's like, "Don't talk to me." I make friends every time I get on a flight. They're now on my Instagram, or I have their phone number, and I want to talk the whole flight. I'm just like chatty Cathy. I don't know.
Well, yeah, I mean, some people like that. I don't. I get annoyed. Like I put my headphones on right when I get to the seat, and
Yeah.
so it's sort of like this guy doesn't want to talk. But if I hear people talking the whole flight behind me, I'm like, "Oh, shut the fuck up already."
Yeah, that's
So
me.
all right, you're one
I'm
of
like,
them. But you know what? If you got a little anxiety about flying, maybe that
I do.
helps. So
Yeah.
that helps, just
Yeah.
talking and keeping your mind off it. So I get that.
I have a lot of Jack and Cokes because I fly a lot, but I don't like it still. Like I don't. It's been hundreds of flights because my mom lived in Orange County and I was in NorCal, so she flew me out once a month, and I still don't like it. And so I have a lot of Jack and Cokes, and then I try to talk to someone. Hopefully, there's a hot guy, next to me. Right now, they're a lot younger than me, so that's exciting. I want to figure out what the kids are into nowadays, stay up to date, and
Right.
my last flight to DC a month ago, it was a really hot guy. Like I just got so lucky, and I don't know. Guys are going for old broads. I have it's in my favor right now. Like whatever's going on, I don't know, in the water.
What you think younger guys are going for older women?
Yes. Yeah, the cougar thing is just like made a comeback. It's going. I don't know.
Hmm.
Yeah.
That's interesting. That's good. Yeah. I mean, I maybe because maybe I don't know. Maybe that generation might be a little uptight or something, or they're not fun, or they're just
I
glued to
do
their
think
phone or
the
something. So
younger
they maybe
generation is afraid of getting rejected. There's like a larger fear of rejection from the 20-year-olds, and like women are maybe a little bit more prudish. They're waiting, or they're not making the moves like older women are like, are we doing this or not? I got to go to bed kind of thing.
yeah.
So, yeah,
Right.
we'll see.
Okay. That makes sense. Yeah. Good for you.
So I saw you're on the road. You're going a lot of places right now. You got Crankacres clips up right now. Is there anything like revamping with that, or what's going on with you right now?
No, I'm just doing a whole special ed, like, new calls with the puppet. It's been a long time since he's been around. So I think it's time to bring him back. All that like late 90s, early 2000s shit is coming back,
Yeah.
which is great, which is insane. I mean, like System of a Down sold out 2 nights at MetLife Stadium in Jersey. That's 160,000 tickets,
Yeah.
which I was surprised they were even doing the stadium to begin with. And then they put a second date on and sold that out. So all of that stuff, Limp Bizkit's opening for Metallica, shit like that. So Special Ed was kind of right in there, maybe a couple years after. So, and this new generation doesn't get offended by stuff.
Yeah.
You know, the kids coming up, they love that stuff. The edgier, the better. The more inappropriate, the better. So it's time.
The more open-minded everyone is right now. Yeah.
Yeah.
When are you coming to NorCal? When are you coming to perform around here?
I don't know. Hopefully soon. I love coming out there. And I'm a San Francisco Giant fan, so I love to go to games out there at the ballpark. But
yeah,
I don't know. Hopefully at some point, we'll see.
Yeah.
It's not that I don't want to come, but you know, you got to get booked and the agent and all that shit. It's all about connections. I don't fucking know how that works.
I know. Like literally, I banged most of my connections, and I'm never gonna lie about that. Like that's how I got into Playboy Radio and some bigger shows. And so it's really who you bang or who you know. That's all it is.
It's not necessarily works for guys though. You know,
No.
There's not a lot of powerful women that like, hey, you bang me, then I can get you on a TV show. I wish it worked like that.
Yeah, it has to be male to male, which in LA I've seen that happen, you know.
Of course, yeah. Well, look, you've got to realize that anyone that moves to Hollywood will do anything to get famous. Yeah. Most of them are desperate, and some just go, "This isn't for me." When they see the scene and what they really have to do, but others like, "I don't care. I'll do whatever I got to do. I want to be famous."
It was too much for me. Like it was fun to visit and live for a little bit, but I was like, I gotta go home to NorCal because it's just not reality and it's just too wild and there's too much fun. And I think I would have died like a lot of the group I was hanging out with if I would have stayed for another 10 years in LA. It's like a La La Land, literally.
Yeah. You know, on this trip, I also saw AC/DC over in Germany.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they were playing a couple days after the Sabbath shows, AC/DC and Pretty Reckless. It was great.
Dude, you saw Hatebreed the other night. I love those guys.
I saw Hatebreed and I saw Buck Cherry the night before. They played the same venue.
I love those guys too. I've had them by a bunch. You know, the only band I asked to get by since 2008 with my first station, and I haven't had by and they don't respond, is Limp Bizkit. I've wanted Limp Bizkit by forever. Have you ever?
Yeah, they rarely do any press. You know, I think we tried to get Fred Durst on that metal show. And, you know, just they weren't doing, you know, they were lie dormant for a long time. Yeah. But yeah, they rarely do press. So, you know, it's too big. You know, they're the perfect example of staying away so long that people actually missed them.
Yeah.
Because if they would have came back like 6 years earlier, people still would have hated them. And same thing with Creed. Creed wasn't as hated as Limp Bizkit, but they stayed away long enough where now they sell every ticket everywhere.
Creed, Nickelback, they're all on fire right now. Like Divorced Dad Rock and the late 90s, early 2000s is just explosive right now. Who's someone you've wanted
and
Buck
I'll tell you Buck Cherry, people they're such a good band, especially live, and they're still putting out great records and stuff. You go see them, they're still awesome, man. I've been a fan since, 15 or even before that when they put that out. But I haven't seen them in a long time. They're still great live.
Josh Todd and Stevie D by in person and over the phone a lot. Really respectful guys, always on time. They were on tour with Steel Panther recently, and Steel Panther and I go way back when they were middle school. I absolutely adore both of those bands, and yeah, nothing but. And I will say, I'm a bigger fan when the band is really nice, and it does. I can ask any questions. They don't kind of limit me on what I could say. I want to listen to their music more when I feel like it was just friends hanging out, and it's not like so rigid.
So, yeah, right. Speaking of Steel Panther, were you in LA when they would do every Monday night?
Yeah. So that's when I moved down to LA in 2008 when they were metal school at the Viper Room and then Key Club on Mondays. And me and this attorney, Eric German, that's now like a big metal attorney, would get a table every Monday night. And we would have different bands at our table. And it was so fun. And then I moved into the Murder Dolls house up the street and we would all walk down to Steel Panther, just faded as fuck. And like, it's just some of my best Hollywood memories are with Steel Panther.
No, I remember going to LA for, a comedy or business, whatever. And I'd make sure, and I would go to those shows on a Monday night. They started like 11 o'clock at night. And it was a time when it was like, no, if you were a hot chick, you don't dress like a rock chick, and girls were flashing and stuff like that. It was like the 80s.
I was naked every Monday. I was tits out on stage. And so I actually introduced them in Sacramento a couple months ago, and it was really cute. I joked, I was like, I got to keep my top on, guys.
Right.
I've breastfed a couple kids. It ain't the same. But they were really sweet. They let me introduce them in Sacramento, and I danced on stage and had fun with them. But I have just the best memory. I feel like it was a good time in LA, and I got out right before. I just feel like it's slowed down, or COVID killed a lot of things. It's different. It's different now.
Yeah, it definitely is.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for coming on. I know you got to go hit up lesbian Don Jameson, that I joke now, and hang out with him and do cool stuff. But thank you so much for coming on. Tell us where we can find you.
Yeah, JimFlorentine.com for all the tour dates, at Jim Florentine on Instagram. And I do a show on Ozzy's Boneyard on Sirius XM every Thursday at 5 p.m. So check it out if you listen to us, Sirius.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Jim.
Thanks. I appreciate you having me again.
Yeah, anytime.